Stream number 47. It's a going. It's a going. So, we need to break out of all the RefCells today. So, I got myself into trouble last stream by changing stuff. Introducing this shared value and shared component and putting things inside of RefCells. That's interesting. Hey there, DigiHuman stream. You are first. So I think this is actually not supposed to be there. This is also not supposed to be there, but these are because we might share those values. Morning, Leche dude, who is now a lurker. I think the idea is that keys should not be shared. They're only used to look to see if something is in something else. But yeah, I got like 303 errors to resolve here. Let's see if I can do it. So, just chasing down the errors. In the middle of a huge refactoring where we're actually doing a bunch of shared stuff. Like that. Shared. Construct map. To put into a map, the value has to be shared, but the key is no longer shared. There, fixed that. Fixed 1 of 303. Set, we're not sharing. 301. Okay, here we have a map. And the key does not need to be shared anymore. 300. I don't know why I have these bookmarks, but let's get rid of them. Okay. The index. I don't actually think these need to be shared, right? Walk index path. Show call hierarchy. These indices. Yeah, we don't need to share these. I always think I was oversharing on some of these. I really only want to have something shared if it's actually stored in the data components. These are not. These are. Because they're refs. Okay. So following this does not need to be shared. We don't need to map to share anymore. We don't need to borrow the index anymore. Undoing some of the stuff I did. Okay, we don't need to borrow. 299, we're sub 300, yay! Yeah, this goes back to value. Key goes in here. Values are still shared though. Argument never used. Because key does not belong there. 297. Making a new set. We just clone. Actually, do we even need to clone? Wait. The value is coming from where? Yeah, I don't need to share. I just clone it. Okay. Okay, 296. Okay, this contains, so this should be like a borrow. Why does it say borrow mute? Just borrowed. Eh? Oh, it is a reference? Oh, vector shared values. Okay. I think what we do is we don't use contains. We'll do RHS dot iter dot contains, well, dot not filter, find predicate. RHS value, I guess just RHS. RHS dot borrow dereference equals value dereferenced is sum. Okay. Up to 310. Wait a minute. I thought we were sub 300. Okay, we're supposed to get an unshared data value. Why is that? This might need to be shared. Go to call hierarchy. Oh, because it's only used to produce a data value. Okay, then part is what? A component. Borrowing the component and getting to its value. We don't want to, oh, right, it escapes there. So I have to, I need to clone the value out of here. And then borrow that and clone the value out again. Okay, that seems weird. Seems like I did that wrong. So what is value again? It's an optional shared value. Oh. So we do have to clone there to get that shared value out of the part, and then we borrow and clone it. Yeah, that's right. Hey there. Hey, Carobot. Doing okay today. Okay. Got myself into trouble last stream by doing this massive change where wherever we have data component, we have shared data component. So we put things into RefCells. Did that with both data components and also these the values inside of children and iterations and the value itself, so that we can wrap them in Lua later. And that's causing massive changes in the code because all sorts of places we were assuming that things were owned and we're taking borrows. Now we can't do that. I'm not going to touch that warning until I fix these errors. Index into its value, which needs to be a vector map. So yeah, well, it's not the borrowed checker fight. It's now just the type match. It's not, the type match is wrong. So like this used to be a borrow. Now it's not a borrow anymore. It's optional reference. through a cell to a value. So I don't need to do an as ref anymore. It should just be an expect. Actually, the as ref there serves a purpose, right? It makes an optional reference to reference. What's the error here? Oh, I think this was supposed to be a reborrow. Yeah. Reborrow time. Okay, and if we want to assign back in there, I got a clone. Do I need to reborrow if I cloned? Think I do. Because it expects a ref. So, yep, it expects a reborrow. Okay. Same thing here, right? Part. Like clone, right? Okay, trying not to hold on to that. I think the way I do it is this. There. I have to do the clone or else it escapes the borrow. These clones are all cheap because we're really just cloning an RC. Cloning an RC is cheap. We're just getting another reference out. Work at you're still watching the stream. Oh, okay. That means you're technically lurking in the stream, right? And while you're working, lurking while you're working. It's all good. Okay, so we have a reference to a component here. And we borrow it to go to the key children, get an entry. Yeah, so we can't reassign the part here until... Is this a reborrow, I guess? But then I have to clone it. Maybe not. Hold on. Let it be known you can be in two places at once. Yes, you understand some of these words. That's great. So I have trouble basically thinking through how to work with this type RC RefCell. RC, it's you can't use it mutably, so you have to clone it if you want to like mutate the copy. Sorry, no, the other way around. The biggest problem is with this RefCell. If we have to borrow the RefCell to get into access to the component, but when we borrow, we're making an RAII type called a ref, and you have to dereference that to actually get to the component. And while you do that, you still have to hold on to that borrow. So we on a lot of places where you don't have to worry about this, and now I have to worry about keeping that ref in scope. And if I'm like going into the component and then taking that component and copying it back out copy would be, I need to actually copy the RC, and then to assign back, I have to do it after releasing the original reference, which means I usually need to copy it. So if I'm borrowing part and going to the keyed children and then getting an entry, which I think I no longer need to clone this, right? Oh no, I do, because we're possibly creating one. I can't assign back to part because this borrow is still in effect. All coding is copy pasta. Am I not wrong? You are wrong. As the reference, I believe it's a very important copy pasta. Make that an emote. Why? No. Let's see. I think I can, if I don't borrow this, if I clone it first, then borrow the clone. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Entry. It's a shared component. So here, I think I just need to clone it out to clone it. Again. There we go, got past it. So we can spam copy pasta? No, I don't like spam. No spam in this channel. Plenty of other Twitch streams you can go spam your copy pasta. Yeah, no worries. Hey, stop chatting. All right? Stop it. All right. It's the same thing, right? I need to clone this again. Yeah, it was a little much, wasn't it? Kind of came out of nowhere too. So no more dereference. Okay, making my way through this. So I noticed my tolerance is a bit lower when I'm concentrating on getting myself out of 300 errors. But nothing is permanent. It's just 10 minutes. Too early for what? Too early in the morning for dealing with that? Yeah. If that's what you meant, then yeah, I agree. Okay. Is this, oh, that's, we're doing the reborrow. The problem here is what? Value ref, oh, it's mutable. Hold on, why is this a problem? It's borrowed, why is it borrowed? Oh, yeah, so I have to clone this. We have to separate ourselves from the original reference in order to assign back while we're borrowing something. That makes sense. It's kind of like rock climbing. You have to like have one point of stability in order to take you have to have one point of stability that's different from the original in order to move the original. Okay. Hey, we're under 300 errors. Let's try to stay there. Oh boy, big red lines. Oh, right. I was doing this with a closure because actually I wonder if I actually still need this closure. This is because we need to fill an entry behind a borrow. So we're taking that name and we're looking it up in the composites keyed children. And we get an entry and we're get. What does get do? Right, if it's occupied, this gets a reference to that entry. And then, why am I doing a borrow there then? Oh, we're borrowing the ref cell, and this is basically to see if it's origin. So this is to do that collision check. If it passes the collision check, then we're turning the entry into, no, we're getting a mutable reference to that entry. That's what we're doing. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's what we do here with that mutable reference to an entry. I'm well today, Dr. Or is it Dr. Evested or is it Drevested? Drevested sounds like it's what how we should pronounce it. Cannot borrow self as mutable because previous closure requires unique access. That's because of this, right? So yeah, I think this is maybe where I stopped last stream because I hit this and I'm like, I either stopped here or I said like, whoa, I don't want to, I don't want to have to fix this now. I'll punt until later. Oh, I remember what I was gonna do. I was changing this to return to plumb back out a return value so that I could do it out here. So I could say like let is local equal that, and then this moves out, and I say like if is local. Copy, paste. And then I can say here, true, false. Okay. Why can I not insert here? Oh, because we're doing a match and then doing an insert. No, that's that entry. What's this problem? Cannot move, which is behind a mutable reference. Why does it say I'm moving out? Oh, it occurs here? What if I don't do that? Oh, does insert actually move out? Oh, it does. Then actually what I want to do then is just let it consume it. So it gets the entry. So it gets the entry. There we go. Doesn't need to be mutable. Okay, back out. And yeah, and this needs to be mutable here at this point. Okay, yeah, the entry you're supposed to insert into it, it has to be owned. So it wouldn't have worked before with just a mutable reference to it. Okay, so because we have to borrow self to go into and grab the entry, we can't go back and insert into self here anymore. So I just plumb this flag back out in order to use it after we add the entry. I think we're not really at 300 errors. I think what it is Rust compiler kind of stops at 300 and says we've beaten him enough with errors. We're not going to tell him he has more. Doctor sounds cool. You could be Dr. Evested. It's just Drevested. I think it's because the part callback borrows a reference. That's so that they don't have to clone if they don't want to. Avoid the clone. All right, this should just be shared data component. I shouldn't have to have this type here, and here is clone. Oh, well, this is shared. This is just Actually, why am I oh, because this is Lua. Right, so this is data. No, this should be shared data component. Actually, I think it can take a reference. Call. Oh, wait. This is in the bridge. Okay, so it should be data component. And then, so I need to fix this type then, right? Yep, I have to fix this type. Shared. We don't need that anymore. Okay. And that is correct then. Great. So this has to be this share. What's the type? It already is shared. Okay. So can I just put that in there now? Yes, I can. Okay. 297. I still think it's like stopping early. So this is again shared. Borrow. Part borrow. Oh yeah, we have it's borrowed twice. So let's get the borrowed part up here. So we can use that borrow twice. And this has to be borrowed again. Okay, cool. Yes, it's shared, right? Because ingest gives me a shared component. Yep, it does. Actually, should it? I think it has to, because when we ingest it, it puts it into into the composite. It's returning us a reference to it, right? In the end. Or is it? Maybe it isn't. Maybe this should just be data component. Let me think. Because I think in some places I'm oversharing. It's only when we have to put it into when we have to do add part, which isn't even in the API level. Here though, yeah, it's giving us back shared. Is it because this might actually store it? Oh no, it's because we might give it in a callback, and Lua might hold on to it. So because we're giving a callback for a composite, then we have to start sharing it. That's why. So that has to be shared. So this this has to be shared. So go ahead and import that. All right. Oh, now we're at 400. You overshare too? So the consequence of oversharing will be that we'll end up holding something with the reference that we don't need to. I guess I could find that after the fact. Is Visual Studio Adobe? You're going back to University for Computer Science. Is Visual Student Adobe? No, yeah, it's Microsoft. Yeah, yeah. Why does that have to do with going back to University for Computer Science, though? So, oh, in all my tests, I'm gonna have this problem. I'm gonna have to copy paste this everywhere, right? Foo equals foo.borrow. And I'm gonna be borrowing a lot, aren't I? In my tests. This is gonna be annoying. Why is that an error? Oh, shoot. So I gotta do that. Consider removing the borrow. Yes. Oh, that's going to be painful. All these tests have to do that. Have to have that now. This borrow. And then this again. I wonder if I can do a multi-cursor to fix this. Adjective development. Hello. Good morning. Did you see that they're adding garbage collection to WASM? Okay. But that's only needed by languages that need garbage collection, right? So it wouldn't apply, like if I took my Rust code and compiled it to WASM, it probably wouldn't use garbage collection. Unless maybe it's more efficient to use WASM's garbage collection than Rust's own garbage collection. Rust has a garbage collector, right? Or is it like automatically adding freeze when boxes go out of scope? It's purely compile time. Well, that means that every time a box goes out of scope, it does a free for you. Yeah, RIII. So that means that if you compile Rust to WASM, then it wouldn't use the garbage collection, even if it was in there. Well, that got a lot of people talking. Hey, there's Spoof. And Tinspin, hi. You have been unlurked by WASM. Oh, this thing is bugging me. This thing I have to wear around my wrist now because I'm going to BlizzCon. Ugh. It's interfering with my wrist rest. Should maybe, well, I would have the same problem with my other hand. Oh, yeah, can I like assert data value and then just like select all and then go to the end and do dot borrow? Go a few words over and put a star. And then let's do let foo equals ingest. They only there we go. And then go one line down, go to the beginning, let foo equal foo dot borrow. Let me call it enter. Actually, that was pretty effective. I just have some extra borrows I gotta delete now. Ah, this thing is, you're killing me. You're killing me. Nope. It has to package its own GC as part of the WASM binary. So does that mean that maybe Go compiler to WASM can be updated to be more efficient? Just leverage the WASM's garbage collector? Okay, so this one just didn't get hit. Oh yeah, all of these are gonna be like shared or something, right? Actually, I could have just said dot share, right? And then I wouldn't need to borrow this, right? Or I can just do that. Hmm. But it sounds like an interesting thing to look into. Maybe their garbage collector identifies garbage differently. So not through pointers, but through something else. Yeah. I wonder if I can just not look at tests for now, unless that's where all my errors are now. Huh. So all my errors are in the tests then. Well, that's encouraging. Okay. Well, then we're just fixing tests now then. So the same thing, right? In 4 places we're doing let poo equals foo dot borrow. Actually, I think we can hit all the foo values at once, right? dot borrow. It's a good thing that I called it foo everywhere. Okay. Then we need a bar borrow. Okay, and this is a share thing. All right. So that's why our error count went way up, because we got the main library to compile, and it's like, okay, now we can look at the tests. Value in RefCell is private? Okay. Well, anyway, let data equals data dot borrow. Yeah, I didn't know value was a private thing in a RefCell. I guess it is. We guessed the secret key. Can you just put a borrow after the ingest? The problem is then that it would be a temporary. So if I did like dot borrow, I thought that because this is a temporary, so maybe you're right. Maybe I could have done it this way. Yeah, you're right. I could have just done it that way. Point for get off my lawn. Now you have 10 points. No, I mean, I had a bad assumption. You corrected my bad assumption. So wherever we do an ingest, we can go to the end of the line and do borrow, because then that fixes a lot of things, right? Okay, these all need to borrow. Here, here, dot borrow. I'm gonna get really good at typing the word borrow. Oh, no, we have one more in this file. 2 borrows. Borrow. Doesn't make sense. Next file. Okay, so ingest again, right? Can I go like all the dot values, do dot value borrow? Put a star there. Okay, that worked. Now I'm thinking I should just do a global search replace. Only problem is that there are a lot of places I've already done where there's a dot borrow at the end. So maybe I don't do it this time, but I should think about doing that next time I run into this kind of thing. The concentration. $300. Almost gonna go back below 300 again. Okay, dropping it means we don't need to borrow it. Yeah. Drop that reference. I need you to put borrow in your clipboard. Well, yeah, okay. Copy. There we go. Can you donate your points to your charity of your choice? I don't think charities recognize useless internet points. Yeah, but I was getting really good at typing it now. But you're right, I can just do paste now, right? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, on the other side of the unwrap. What's the problem? Enum. Oh, yeah, I don't need to do that. Okay. Don't need to do both. Do one or the other. $288. Thank you for going through all this pain with me, by the way. This is probably very painful. I understand that. $269. Up 287. Oof. 251. Dot value. That's probably wrong. Actually, in this case, it was right. Got him. All right. Oof. Gonna be a lot of these. It's the values for the map, right? Okay. Yep, that messed that up totally. So, pick all of these places. There are a lot of them. And let's pick all of these. There are a lot of. Okay. Values, share, share. I thought I got rid of the hover thing. Thought I got rid of that with, I thought I disabled that. Guess not. Ooh, that cut it down quite. Oh, no, it jumped back up. When you think you're done and you're not. Borrow. Ooh, 120. Is it going to hold? 125? Is it going to hold? Oh, nope. Jumped up a little bit. But that was a huge one there. Ooh, borrows go away. Star assert goes away. Unwrap values go to unwrap borrow value. Okay. Unwrap errors. Unwrap borrow error. Huh. Okay. Just manually fix these ones up. What? Oh. Hold on. I don't need to do that. I can just do this. Bunch of vectors, right? It just needs a star in front. Didn't do such a good job on this one. That's a share. Man, unwrap borrow until the cows come home. $81. Okay, making dents in things. $79. Actually, $94. Ha ha ha. More than you thought. Boo value. Actually, I don't want to do end of line. I want to do that. Select all, move to the right, then move a bunch of words over to the left. 61. Actually, 71. Data value, select all, borrow, couple words over, star. Will the test pass once this is all done? I hope so. Once that's what I've been finding with Rust. It's generally true. Once you get it to compile, it just works. More often than not. I didn't expect that my test would all break, but I guess I should have expected that since we changed it all the way up to the API level. Okay. We're in the vector test. Yeah, we're going to expect a lot of these borrows, so a lot of these shares. Why is this an error? Because this needs to be a share. Okay, inner vector. These all have to be shared because potentially we could end up with Lua wrappers for any of these values. So all data values have to be wrapped in references, reference counters. I guess applying the clipboard to all these. All right, powering my way through this. Oh, this is the complicated one. It's going to get real interesting. All of these, including that one. all of these, including that one, share. Can't have two clipboards. Borrow's in my clipboard right now. Oh, we're almost there. Dot share. Man. All those red lines go away. I missed one. Click, 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 click. Not there. Click, click, click. Dot share. Oof. One error? One error. No field named error. Yoink. What? Oh, I have to take that point away. Get off my lawn. It is dropped while borrowed. Oh, hey there, Sarian. I won't take the point away because, yeah, it was an error, but it was masked by the other errors. To go all the way back up. All these places. Crap. Well, it's fine. Can I hit all these at once? Ingest. So the general strategy is we'll hit semicolon, enter, let foo equals foo dot borrow, right? So I can kind of put that in my clipboard. Copy. And maybe it won't be so bad. So all the ingests, go to the end, and then paste. Although this should have been called foo. Yeah, sometimes I called it data. Some of the early tests I called it data, but really it should have been called foo because it's actually foo in the format, and I was using foo everywhere. It's okay, get off my lawn. Oh, and I lost my clipboard. Semicolon dot let foo equals foo dot. Put this back into the clipboard. Okay, all these ingests. Paste. See, it's not so bad. If they're all structured the same, then these are the weird ones, right? They're all structured the same, then the copy that the select all, go over and paste works. So actually I can do that. It actually works because the formatter helps me. See, this works because it's all in one line. Okay. Why do I have to call it data sometimes and foo other times? Why? Oh, okay, this one, the drop, it really messed it up. It's this, right? Yeah. Does the string title mean you're trying to reduce the number of ref cells? It's that I'm trying to reduce the errors introduced by putting things into ref cells, basically. So you probably missed that part. So actually, this is going to give me the same error later, isn't it? So the component, because I want to make Lua wrappers for nodes inside the tree that after it's been constructed, I need to actually make these into ref cells that have reference counters. All the things that are in the key children and the iterations and also the values, these shared data values, the same kind of thing. It's how come I can't click on it? There it is. It's an RC ref cell value because Lua can drop it at any point. It can't hold a borrow. It has to hold always. The principle is Lua wrappers have to own their values. So you can't own a reference. You have to they have to own something for static lifetime. So you can't own a reference unless it's static. And these aren't static. So we put them into an RC instead. And because while we're parsing it, we need to be mutating it. We have to put it into a cell. So the alternative, I guess, would be we make the whole data structure and then we break them all out of their cells and make a mirror or we make a post-processed data structure with no ref cells in it. We'd still need RC though because of the Lua ownership thing. Yeah, it is annoying, but hopefully I don't have to go through this again. That's okay. Go through this and learn a lesson that if I intend to wrap something, if I intend to make the API allow you to have a like independent lifetimes for subcomponents, then they need to be can't do two things at once. They need to be shareable. I have to have this concept of being able to share parts of things, which implies an RC. And if you need mutability inside that, you do use a ref cell or a mutex, right, with an ARC. How about we just change all the let data equals to let foo equal. And then we change all the data values to foo values. That hits them all at once. See, I just need to stop and like think about these things, right? Okay. This should be a lot. Cut that error count down. 121. A lot of them here. Poof. 73. Okay, this data is here. I'm gonna have to fix that. Let data equals becomes let foo equal. Data dot becomes foo dot. And that did it. Now down to 57. See, now we're making a dent in it. Oh, I lost my clipboard. Let data, let foo. Data dot foo dot. Oh, I don't have the thing in my clipboard anymore. Oh, no, I do. I put it back. Paste. 39. Well, I guess it's a good thing we're fixing this stuff now. Not have to fix it later. That pop-up that like now misinterprets my click really bugs me. Like I don't want the pop-up. I guess I gotta just get used to like moving my mouse away like that. Lost my clipboard again. Okay, put it back in the clipboard. Copy. Let data. Select foo. I have to just move my mouse away after I'm done using it. Otherwise, the mouse hovering over it like pops a pop-up on it. Ooh, what happened here? Let food goes foo. Deleted. Yeah, but there's the word data is elsewhere. It needs to be very carefully contextual. Okay, that was the last main thing. Now we have one outlier here. Thank goodness, we just have warnings left. I don't trust it though. Let me do a cargo clippy. Cargo build. Maybe even a cargo next test. We're gonna get panics now, right? Oh, yep, already borrowed. Okay, well, I guess I should have expected that. Oh, well, that's obviously a problem, isn't it? We need to like calculate this beforehand. Let result equal that, and this equals result. Yeah, see, now instead of the borrow checker getting me, it's going to be runtime panics of borrow. Already mutably borrowed. Okay. Parent. Oh, because of this, right? So I don't need to get it mutably, do I? Yes, I do. But to assign back into parent is the problem, right? Hold on, where's the it's at 130. This, right? Actually, we're not assigning back into parent, are we? So maybe what we do is we just say parent equals parent borrowed mutably. Then in front of this, it's just parent dot. And that, right? Yep, and here too. Here I gotta drop it though. So it's ugly, but we gotta do it. Either that or I drop parent. Or rename or make it a different name. Maybe we make it a different name. So let parent ref. And this is the original parent. Why? Cannot borrow as mutable. That? Yes. Okay, then why can't we do that? It's borrowed. It shouldn't have been borrowed because we cloned it. Oh, I didn't clone the outer one, right? Parent ref. Okay, clone that. Wait, why can't I? Because it's a ref mute, so can't do that. Move that to... Well, no, that clone should give me a new reference. So why is this why is it still borrowed? Did I run into something like this yesterday? No, see, it just needed me to help it. Without that line, it thinks it, yeah, it just needed me to help it. Okay. There we go, we passed our test. Yeah, why does it stay borrowed in the else block? Which else block? Oh, in here? Unless I missed which else block we're talking about. That's probably an older piece of chat, right? I was borrowing many times and really, that's because we blindly went through this and replaced parent with parent.borrow or whatever. But we need to have one common borrow that because we're using parent ref multiple times in loops and stuff. And that was causing a multiple borrow. So we do one borrow and then just use that borrow all the way through. But we have to drop it to reassign to parent. And for some reason, Rust didn't really see that the scope of parent ref ended here. But we helped it see the truth. Okay. So now the cleanup begins. I've got some warnings. Variable does not need to be mutable. Right, because it's handled through a borrow mute. Redundant clone. Oh, interesting. So this, the original value ref is an optional reference, right? And this is just peeling away the option. So we can use the original reference to be returned. Yeah, we don't need an extra clone, right? And unwrap or fallback function call should just be unwrap or else. What's the function call? Oh, okay. So it doesn't want me to pre-compute that. Actually, that's a good idea. Why borrow it? Why clone the reference when you don't need to? Yeah, and then it's saying I don't need to clone it. It's redundant. So that means I can just say this without a semicolon. Okay. Or insert with... Yeah, exactly what I just said. Or insert with... It doesn't like that I called it shared component because component is the name of the module. So I think I'm going to overrule that. Yeah, I'm going to overrule that. Same thing down. Oh, this is that it should be used, right? Wow, it's still like 49 freedom degrees outside. And it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, overruled. must use. How much of that is that in communist degrees? One of my friends has a bot that'll do that calculation for you. 49 freedom degrees in communist degrees. 9.44444444444. One warning. Is sum after searching for an iterator. Use any. I agree. Use any. So I had to do this weird thing rather than doing contains, because contains would force me to wrap this value into a shared, put on the heap and make a reference to it, and we're just using it for comparison. So that sounds about right. You subtract 32 and multiply by 5/9. Yeah. It's just under 10 degrees, and under 10 communist degrees is very cold to me. Because I live in Southern California, where it's usually like a lot warmer than that. I guess we're getting an Arctic blast, is what I heard. This new term that was never used in the past. I think it's to sensationalize the weather and make it sound more interesting. They say like bomb cyclone or Arctic blast. It's like these are new flashy names for something that they probably just say like a cold front or something, right? Arctic jet stream cold front now is Arctic blast. Okay, well, are we back to Lua land? I think we're back to Lua land. Let's go to the lib for bridge. Does that mean that this will just work now? The test.lua. It is expecting to be able to get a value from a part. I think we didn't implement that yet. So that's data component in the bridge. There's no part here, so, or there's no value, is there? So, in fact, there's no, we're not making an index at all. So we need to do that. So this is how we do it, right? We do add data fields. Let's close all. There's too many things open. So implement default methods. Okay, so we don't need add methods right now, but add fields would be great. Fields dot add field method get. The name is value. The method wait, is it whatever I want it to be? Oh, that's cool. But I think it's wrong, right? Yeah, that's wrong, because it tells me it should take 2 arguments. I was trying to do this without copying, but yeah, it's Lua and then this. Okay, so what do I want? I want this dot 0 dot borrow dot value. Extract value? I thought I could just get to the value from here. Oh, is value not public? Mismatch types. Okay, so there is a value. It just I need to package that into Lua. So data value dot clone. Okay, so data value, we haven't made something for that. Let's do that. Let's copy data components, call it data value. go to the lib and declare it. Okay, and data value uses a shared data value, right? And it doesn't have a field. But here's where I'm gonna want to like do a to Lua and from Lua, right? From Lua, if it already is a data value. Yeah, so I could have other types here, other conversions. And then the to Lua for a data value could be done differently, right? Because I kind of want it to be if it is a okay, these are the implicit conversions, right? To Lua from Lua. Why Chromium go away? So the implicit conversion is that if in Lua well, we're gonna make it a user data, right? And from Lua is to pull it back into Rust, so we recover our original type, our self. And the to Lua is implemented for us. That's when we declare it as a user data, it converts it to one of these. But so if I wanted to actually get at or to use it as if it was a native Lua value, what would I do? I guess I would not use the user data in the first place. I would actually try to convert it. So I wouldn't implement user data. Unless maybe I can't represent all these things in Lua. Well, the signed versus unsigned is going to be an issue, right? But maybe in Lua, I don't care. Do I care about whether it's signed or unsigned at the Lua level? Actually, I think I do care. That's the only real difference, though. All the other things, well, yeah. These both become tables, but this one's a table with numerical indices, and this is one with string indices. It's just the fact that it's signed or unsigned that's bothering me. I guess what I could do is, in addition to value, I could have value type, right? I can do value type because I already have something that will return that. So it's value instead of dot clone, it's dot type name, I think, or borrow it type name, right? Describe type. Yeah, I could do this. And that returns me a string, which is convertible to Lua, right? So it's always okay. So hold on, let me comment that out for a little bit. And then in the test Lua, which I somehow have closed. Oh, I remember closing it now. We'll do value type and we'll just see if it's correct. Cargo build. I have to remember to do that again. Then run actually I got to do this in the stage folder, right? Yeah, so we got that it's unsigned integer. Cool. So if I actually want it to be, let's have that like printed in parentheses. So like part dot value. Let's have part dot value actually. Well, let's have it not make it a user data, but so it's not a user data. That means I need to do the conversion in data component, right? So it would, I would actually do it here. I do a switch or a match. And we wouldn't need to clone it, we just borrow it. And dereference it, right? Yes. Okay, so I think I'm just basically unwrapping the value. Or no, I'm putting it into a value, right? So it's a value, and value comes from Lua. Or no, Lua value. That's right, Lua value. Boolean B. Okay, so then I can expected result. Okay. Actually, all of these are going to convert correctly, right? So I can just put OK on the outer. Cool. So then I should be able to do the same thing. All of these become Lua values. Number, right? Number. D. Yeah, let's do the easy ones first. So that's Lua value nil. Si or I. Integer. I. Actually, didn't they add an unsigned integer type to Lua? Boolean error function integer. I guess they didn't. Or if they did, it's not one of the primary types up here. So this actually might not be okay, right? So we have to do a cast. I64 try from you question mark, right? And do I have to map it? It can't convert from. You can convert from a bunch of things, but not try from returns something else, right? Try upper bound. It returns a try from int error. So I gotta map this, I guess. Integer overflow. It can't take am I doing this right? Okay, so it only supports certain conversions, so I guess I have to map it myself. I forget how I did this. Was it this from Lua conversion? Runtime error? Yeah, they have a couple different things we could do. We could do a runtime error. That's up here. I was trying to avoid the ones that are like this one says it's a built-in operation of Lua. Um, but maybe we use that. Really, this is the more appropriate one, right? A Rust value could not be converted to a Lua value. I'm just wondering, like, can I just put whatever I want for the from? Yeah, I think we'll use that. To, well, it would be Lua error Dat. Message is this. Question mark. Okay. That. Yes. Okay, to integer. Unsigned integer. Overflow. That has to be to string, right? No. What is it? It is an option standard string, so it's sum. Okay. Cool. That was harder. This should be easier, right? This is just Lua value string s. Why is there a lifetime associated with it? I have to make an mlua string. From? Do I just do s into? There's no conversion from Rust string to Lua string? Really? Okay, maybe I look in the manual and see how am I supposed to build those. Here, right? String. May not be valid UTF-8. Well, I mean, but valid UTF-8 can be a not, yeah, it should be able to handle valid. Splites into owned. Load, huh? I'm just surprised that there's no like implementation of from string or to, yeah, shouldn't there be an implementation of from string or something? That's weird that they would want me to go through something like this. So just go to bytes and then go to string? As it needs the runtime to do it. I don't understand that. Load is to load it as if it was a Lua program. Oh, in addition to, because you can do an as ref for a string. So it's Lua. Okay, well, I mean, it's a weird way to do it, but is it because it needs an interpreter? It needs an interpreter reference here. That's probably why, right? So I get to use my Lua then. Let's use the interpreter reference. Lua.create string, coerce string, create string from s. Okay, didn't take it. Oh, no, it does, but it's okay. It's not okay. This is fallible. So let it escape. The other way. Okay, so reference. Wait, as ref. So what's the problem? Why does it think I'm moving it out? Why is it moving out? Oh, because I am moving it out. I don't want to move it out. I want to do a reborrow. There, did it. So that's borrowed anyway, so I don't need to do that. Okay, so that has to be dereferenced then. Cool. And same thing on these guys. Cool. Yeah, I don't want to move it out. trying to get those rust muscle memory going, right? So I guess the other way to do this would be to do that, and then I don't need that, right? Or is it like ref? Or is it star? One of these, like, you could, I guess you can't do it that way. I thought you could, though. I thought you could, like, do a ref there. I guess it does nothing there. There should be a B in the pattern. It doesn't like that. Mismatched types. Yeah, it's like spoof. You thought you could do it too, and so did I. And I tried it, and they put a red line under it. I'm like, I guess I'm wrong. Yeah, if it's a copy, you're right. We could do it that way, but it's just really moving the symbol around. Either way, like we have to have a symbol, right? There's no way to avoid that, because there's no automatic dereference for that. I think that's the thing, is that because it's inconsistent, in that sometimes there's automatic dereferencing and sometimes there's not. And the reason why is hidden. It's not obvious by looking at the code, that I can't remember it very well. Putting a ref on the parts where you need it not to copy. So instead of this here, you're saying I would put it, well, if I get rid of these symbols now, right? We'll get the other error here. You're saying I can put a, well, how would this work? Like that? Yes. Good morning. This is one of those very few times we use this reserved word, right? Because that doesn't work, but that does. And I can never remember when to use this ref. So it's specifically for when you're doing when what you're matching is a owned value and you're not moving out, right? We used to have to do that, but yeah, in the dark ages of Rust, you had to do that. But now, so this is a remnant of the old dark days. This is a remnant of the dark days. You can put a ref on any pattern, including let statements. See, now I got the Rust graybeards to comment and unlurk them successfully. Yeah, hey there, homemade apple pies. Don't know if I waved, but I gave you another wave. Let ref x equals expression is legal and equivalent to let x equals reference x. Okay, it's legal, but there's a difference here. I can't do that because it doesn't match the pattern anymore. So it's basically saying I want to borrow s, but I don't want it to affect the pattern. The pattern is still a owned value pattern, and this is saying, by the way, as a side effect, if it matches here, I want to borrow it, right? So there is a subtle difference between ref and the ampersand sign. I guess also the way you said it in chat is it actually moves from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. When you go from ref to ampersand, it has to go from the left hand to the right hand. This is similar, right? It's moving, it's where you would normally think to use it here. It's actually means it's really on it's the equivalent of if you put this on the other side, right? But I can't do this because it'll always move it out. So by moving that to the left-hand side, now it doesn't move it out anymore. It's a binding, yes. So a binding is different from a borrow. Yeah, the type doesn't change. That's the thing, right? It doesn't change the type of this left-hand side expression, but it creates this binding called S. I guess this is also a binding, but it's an owned value binding, or this is a reference binding. So now when we talk about it, it makes sense to me, but like I have to form those mental associations, right? Like, yeah. And then just not using it very often, I forget what it means. Okay, so we have some things to do. Vector's the easiest, right? V, we're gonna make a table. So let t equal Lua, Lua dot create table, right? Create table. Is there actually helpers to create table from? What's this from? Values of an iterator. Oh, that's useful. Let's do that. So the values would be presumably Lua values, right? So I would want to do a v dot. I'm going to want a ref here too, aren't I? Yes, because without that, it's going to try to move the vector out. Yeah, it's going to try to move it out, but we don't want to. So since that's a reference, can I do into iter? I don't think I can. Iter.map. This by itself won't work because it's going to say the values aren't Lua values. Now that I think about it, this whole thing should be a function because I need to call it recursively here. You do enter iter, but it does the same as iter in this case. I would get a warning diagnostic saying that it doesn't have any difference, right? I need to have this whole thing be in a subfunction that takes Lua as a extra argument. How far do we? So all the way down to here, right? Copy. This is going to be a free function. Wrap data value. Actually, what is the type of this? It is a reference to a Lua. This will be a shared data value. Yes. And it'll be a reference to one. Because why mess with the reference counter if we don't need to? Lua value. Lua error. Paste. So this becomes value.borrow. This much of it, right? And we're presuming that it's okay. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna undo that one and do a qualify. I guess I don't really need to, but like I don't want to be like data value is kind of ambiguous, right? I don't want to call it, I definitely don't want to call it value because there's a Lua value and then there's a ingestion data value. What's this saying? Missing lifetime specifier. Oh, there's a lifetime on the thing, right? I think the lifetime is actually attached to the Lua. Like this, right? Okay. Then what's the dealio? Not constrained by the function's input types. Oh, I guess it is not an argument, but it goes there. Yes. Okay, cool. I fixed it. Yeah, so this one I want to recursively call wrap data value on it. So iter dot map through wrap data value. And that's fallible, so actually I should just do it this way, right? Value wrap data value fallible. So if we're all good here, it'll be, want to be a Lua value table. Create table. Can't early return out of the closure like that. You're correct. So I will have to do um uh I'm constrained by this needing the iterator to be keys. Oh, that's the other problem. It has to be keys values. It doesn't take result. The item can't be a result. So does that mean I have to like, how do I do that? Do I have to collect it into a vector and then create a table? I guess I don't, this is too fancy. We should just create a table and then start pushing values into it. And if we get an error, then we discard the table, right? Yeah, so I'm not going to collect into a result vec because it's needless. If we're already, the memory really is being held by the table itself. We'll just do it this way. Let t equal create table. That's fallible? Okay, might fail. And for value in v, that works, right? Value will be a value. And we'll do it this way. T dot. So I can't operate on a table directly. Do I have to actually put it into a table first? Oh, I can. I can just do a push. Depends the deal. So this will automatically add an index, right? Which is exactly what I want. So then it's just a T. Although we didn't like this because I needed to give it the Lua again. There we go. Did it. With capacity, is there a function like that? Oh, oh, ho, ho, ho. We'll have as a sequence and a table, so it's 0. So it's comma 0, and this is v dot length. That deserves a point because I didn't know about that. 14 points now you have. Let's clean this up. This should just be wrap data value, Lua value. The value is this dot 0 dot borrow dot value there. Reborrowed. No. I got the type wrong in this. Consider borrowing. Okay, borrow. There we go. What? Oh, there is a push returns an error? It does. Lots of errors. Okay, I need to take a break for a few minutes. I'll be right back. Share stream and contemplate this ugly code. Coming back. Of course there was a chair stream while I was gone. How do I say your name? ICS Boyx? Thank you for the raid. No, it's a Raimu chair. Sometimes, instead of the Raimu being the streamer, it's the Raimu chair that's the streamer. Raimu chair is harder to understand. Moves very slowly and speaks even more slowly. Thinking all that time I was gone, Raimu chair only said one word and it was... That was it. X is okay enough. Okay, thanks, X. All right, what am I doing here? I am... See, actually, this should work, right? I can actually make sure it works. Because we're not using sets and maps yet. So that's what I'm trying to do. We're using this Lua script to parse lol.gif as a GIF, and then we're getting its width and height. We're extracting the width and height out as it's being parsed, actually. That's one goal. The secondary goal, well, not secondary goal, and the next goal is probably going to be after we get the GIF that we can actually descend down the part structure like this and find the width a different way. But yeah, we start with one of these, which looks like that. And we say, hey, we want to decompose that into its parts, right? Using our own custom language. So that's the structure of a GIF image, right? And if we wanted to know what the width and height was, well, that's buried inside logical screen, which has a logical screen descriptor, which has the width and the height right there. So again, our Lua says, as we're parsing, like I guess I got to close this because it's not wide enough. Ingest the how do I say this? Ingest this raw GIF using this parser and this format, and use this callback. And the callback is every time we parse a part of the file that is in the structure at a given path, then we'll say, well, if the path is the width, then just print out the width's value. Let's put spaces here. And we're also printing out its type because we want to see that it actually is unsigned. So that's why we see it here. So if I ran it with a different GIF file, get a different width and height. I don't know if you can see it, but you see how it gives the width and the height immediately, and then there's a slight pause. The slight pause is it parsing the rest of the file. It takes about this is the debug build, right? It takes like about a second or so. Release build, it's maybe like 10% of that time. I think also it's taking time because we're doing this callback in the first place. So it's doing a lot of callbacks into Lua where it does these comparisons and ends up being false and never prints anything. So to work on the alternative here, the alternative is we get down here and we say logical screen equals GIF dot. Let's do like a GIF, GIF dot part logical screen. And then descriptor. Just do LSD because it's shorter. Logical screen. Like, why am I using long names anyway? Let's just use ls. Dot part. Here I need the full name. Width equals lsd.part logical screen width. And then height, and then we'll just print it. Image is width by height. Okay, so this is not going to work right now because there's no field called part. This is a big bottle. It's even bigger when I hold it to the camera. Look at that. It's a whole liter. Or a communist gallon, I guess. Oh, it's now 51 communist, or 51 freedom degrees outside. That's like 10 communist degrees. Making some logical divisions in the code. It's more like 9.6. We haven't gotten to 10 yet. Oh my! See, my hands start to like get cold and like they don't move as my fingers don't move as fast. Okay, so the data component needs to have a field. Well, really a method called it's a method, right? Needs to have a method called part. Actually, if I make it a method, this has to be these dots have to be colons, right? I always forget that in Lua that it's not a dot when you call a method. It is a colon. $51 is 10.555? Oh, so we are above 10 communist degrees. Oh, it's still cold though. In here it's 65 freedom degrees, but outside it's 51.8. So methods dot add function, add method. Here we go. Name part method. I don't know. We're gonna do something. We're gonna do something for sure. It looks like it takes three things: the Lua, self, and the arguments. Arguments. Can I express this with a tuple that has a the name in it? I guess I would have to say what the type is, so let's just do args. Let name equal args. I guess I need to actually say the type that I want. Okay, and then let's see if that works so far. It does not, because type annotations are needed because I haven't said what the result is. There we go. Now it's happy. You would say put it up here, but I kind of like putting it down in the destructuring. It's fine. It works either way, right? So with this, it's going to be 0.borrow.keyedChildren.get with the name. Unwrap or it's unwrap or else, right? Gives us the error. No. Is it unwrap or? No, I need a function. It's okay or, right? Okay or else, I guess. Or I guess, can we pre-compute the error? No, we should probably... Hmm. 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 Let's start with this. We want a Lua error here, right? But which Lua error? It'd be like not found or something. Yeah, we want a none to come back as an error. But which error? Which error? Oh, wait a minute. No, the traditional thing to do in Lua is to return nil, right? Not an error. So unwrap or Lua value nil, which means, yeah, the part should never fail. But I do need to map it, right? Value. No, component. Part, really, is a data component. Part clone. Okay, I got it wrong. What did I get wrong? Expected. Oh, yeah, data component. Shoot, no, that needs to be a Lua value. So, what? I guess I can just it can figure this out, right? Or do I need to say to Lua? I think I do, right? I just say to Lua into, and then this is a Lua value. There is no into. Is it like? Okay, let's look up to Lua, how it works. Into Lua. Okay, so there should be an into Lua. I have to use a trait though. Let me guess, that is fallible. And I probably want that to actually return an error. So how do I do that? It's inside of a map. Probably trying to do too many things at once, right? I should probably break this up into several statements. Yeah, that's fine. Map or let's see if the diagnostic teaches me to do that. It's probably because this is, yeah. Oh, well then don't I just remove the okay? Let the error naturally propagate. But I do want to unwrap. Yes. It takes an argument. It takes a Lua. You can have the Lua. Be my guest. This has to be like an okay, right? There we go. It didn't give me a warning though, so transpose unwrap or should work? You mean maybe to get rid of this okay? So transpose would make it into a result of an option, right? And then do an unwrap or. Wait. Want to unwrap or and then transpose? Maybe I got it backwards. Or this. Like, if we want to be clever and get rid of the okay, it would be like that inner option. It's result option right now, right? No, it's option result. Okay, so I could transpose and then do an unwrap. No, I'd have to do an unwrap or transpose, right? So it'll be a none. So no, I want to transpose and then unwrap. No, it would be a map. No, map to unwrap or either in the unwrap or around the whole thing. Yeah. See, I don't like intuitively use I don't intuitively know when to use transpose. It's only when it's a mechanical thing where if I see I need a result option and I have an option result, then I say, okay, the solution for that is transpose. But I don't see ahead of time where transpose is used like intuitively. So following this, it's like get it's an option. It either gets something or it doesn't find it. It gives me none. And then if it's something, I want to clone that something and wrap it into the Lua wrapper and then put it into a value. And then this is really the if it was none, if we didn't go into this map, if it's none, then it should be nil. But the side effect of that is I need to wrap it in okay because the into Lua is fallible. So yeah, trying to come up with a smart way to make it function. So like it's hard for me to see how to avoid putting this okay around it. It's like I have to do a transpose at some point, but I don't quite see where. Would I do it in the unwrap or? But I'd have to give it a data value nil, wouldn't I? And then let the data value nil be turned into a data component and then put into Lua. So, but that puts an unnecessary wrapper around a nil, really, doesn't it? Oh wait, isn't this wrong anyway? This is wrong anyway. I don't want a Lua value. Dang it. No, I do want a Lua value. Right. I don't want to wrap a nil into a data component. It actually needs to be a Lua value nil. Right. Yeah, so the unwrap or needs to come after the map because I don't want a none to go into a data component. I don't want to unwrap before I do the map. I want to always unwrap after the map. So I think this is the correct way to do it anyway. Okay, map, transpose, and wrap or. This still has the okay in it. Yeah, I think there's no better way than to do this. So that lets me look up a part. That should be enough, right? Attempt to concatenate a data component value. Oh, so there's a way to like make something printable, right? There's probably a trait for that. Trait. How do you make a user data value printable? Is it time to ask ChatGPT that question? Because you can print other Lua values, you just can't print user data. Yep, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. Also gonna ask ChatGPT, could you turn the heat up? Just kidding. In mlua, well, how do you make a user data? How do you make a Rust structure wrapped as a user data in with mlua printable? Let's see if it understands what I'm getting at. Oh, okay. Just need to implement the toLua trait, and then we just convert it to a string. To make a Rust structure printable as a user data with mlua, you'll need to implement the user data trait and then define a behavior toLua trait for it. And they just have it creating a table. They actually never show a print, so it didn't quite understand that part of it. Yeah, it's just turning it into a table, and then we're like dereferencing the things from the table. So what if I ask it a different way? Is there an equivalent to the Rust trait standard format display for user data values in Rust using mlua, or user data values in Lua using mlua? In mlua, there is no equivalent to the display trait for user data values. The user data trait is used for creating custom types that can be manipulated from Lua, but it doesn't directly deal with formatting for display. If you want to customize how your user data is displayed in Lua, you need to implement a method that provides a custom string representation and then expose that method to Lua. Actually, now that I realized, I just realized that we shouldn't be printing the height directly. Yeah, I think I'm going down the wrong path here. I think I should be printing its value, right? That's what I should be doing. That's why I was getting confused. And it works. Well, thank you, ChatGPT. But anyway, let's say I wanted to make a user data printable. If you want to customize how it's displayed in Lua, you need to implement a method that provides a custom string representation and then expose that method to Lua. So you'd have like a toString Lua method. And then Lua, you would just print toString. Yeah, that makes sense. So if I wanted to print and not print its value, but print its component, I'd do something like toString, and then I'd make a method toString that returns a Lua value that's a string. Hey there, Tech Now. Yep, we're parsing a binary file. See, we're doing it right here. We're parsing lol.gif. I have it hard-coded in here, and figuring out what its image width and height is. So I'm at the point now where the parser library is complete, and I'm adding a Lua bridge to it. So all of this is done, and now we're allowing it to be attached into a Lua interpreter. How fast does it go if you remove the callback and run it in release mode? Good question. We should time it first by doing that with time. How come it says it's only 0.3707 seconds? It sure feels like it's longer than that, but I guess it is. So we do cargo build release, and then I have to change my link, right? Because right now it's going to the debug. Len s. Should make a script that does this so I don't have to do it myself, right? Okay, and then 0.093 seconds. So it's a little over 3 times faster. It does feel like 0.3? Okay. So maybe we keep it going in the release build, because I only really need the debug build if I'm going to run it in the debugger. That's with the callback. So let me remove the callback and see how much faster it is. So for that, we just do... Actually, can I do that? Can I just omit it? Yeah. So it's 0.057 instead of 0.093. Now, how much of that is the printing, right? Let's put it back and then, like, not print. Okay, the printing or not is really insignificant, right? We don't get any speed improvement by not printing. Okay, but what if we also don't even do the comparison? Also insignificant. So the callback is insignificant. Or I should say, the body of the function is insignificant. But if we omit the call completely, we save a lot. So there's a lot of overhead in actually making the call into Lua. But once we're in Lua, these are really fast. And it's insignificant what we're doing in the callback. Probably because it's like 50 something thousand times that we're doing the callback. And although we're doing the comparison that many times, the print is truly insignificant. Even the comparison is insignificant. I should say that the other way around. The comparison is truly insignificant because even if we do it 50,000 times, it still didn't impact the time. And the print is probably insignificant on it, but we only really know it's only printing twice, so we don't know if it's significant. Be right back in like 5 minutes. Okay. So I could put the callback back in there. And only slightly, well, slightly as in it almost doubles the amount of time. Okay, I'm happy. There's another thing I wanted to do, which is rather than like descending the tree ourselves, it would be nice to say like width equals gif dot dref. Actually, what if I combine it with part? And part can just use dereference. So I should be able to put the full path in here. And then print it again. So this is going to fail now because it's indexing a nil value. So if I change it, so that instead of doing a get, it actually does a dereference, right? So add a method called dereference. But I already have that, right? Where is that? Here. Here. It has to be formulated as a reference though, so we'd have to parse it. Oh, I remember doing this years ago. I had an alternate parser that instead of parsing a format, it would parse a reference. Yeah, I actually put it into the grammar that you can construct a reference. So the problem is that we'd have to have a context, and we're getting the part out of the context. Are we using self for anything else? Yeah. Also, we're using the vector context, and we're walking iterations or vector. So what does that do? How does that use self? Probably to evaluate expressions. Yep, evaluating expressions. So we'd have to make a dummy context, essentially, that we only use for dereferencing into an existing composite. So if I did this right, yeah, it's shared. So we'd make a dummy context, give it a reference to the thing we want to dereference, and I guess it would have no bit stream, it would have no span, locals would be empty, path would be empty, and iterations would be empty. We just empty all of that out. Okay. It's 9 o'clock. So I'm going to BlizzCon today, but what time do I want to go at? What's happening at BlizzCon right now? I didn't get the super secret ticket to get into the opening act, so because that was like a stupid like random draw. Don't they have like a schedule? Schedule. There's a pre-show. Okay, there's really nothing happening until 10. I wish I could scroll that too. I guess I have to make the window wider. Can I scroll it? I can't scroll. This is a dumb UI. There's a scroll bar at the bottom. Okay. Really, it's almost 2 hours long. Huh. Okay. I wonder if I should just like stream through the opening thing and watch it later. Because I don't need to be there to see that. So I can just keep going until lunchtime. Yeah, then I avoid the morning traffic. Okay. So I guess I'll straight keep going until like right before 10 and maybe just watch the opening thing here and then head in when I get bored. Yeah, all right. Just trying to decide how much longer I want to stream for. So bot says we have 33 people watching. Yeah, so let me back this up. Send out of the virtual machine, and I have to be one directory up to do that. Actually, do I want to do some refactoring first? Because I'm probably oversharing. Let's close everything. An ingestion library, in the context, in expressions, binary ops, right? We're not sharing at all, so that's good. I didn't do any, the sharing stuff didn't infect the binary operations at least. So that's good. Okay. Well, except for like probably the add. Where's add? Plus. When it gets to vectors, it has to do some sharing stuff, right? Yeah, it's got to like clone the values, push the new one in, and right, the value is shared through a reference, so we have to actually make our own copy of it and then make it shareable to push into the vector. Oh, I gotta let the dog out. Let the dog out, and I have a cat to show you. Look at my cat. A cat. All right. So, expressions are all good. Yes, I think she's lovely too, although she's like sort of, what's the right word? Energetic and inquisitive and intelligent. And so if she doesn't get what she wants, she knows how to like irritate us and like she'll start breaking things. Yeah, so expression's all good. All that's all good. I'm just looking for places in the code where we use RC or RefCell when we don't need to. So this is not using any of that. So either RC, RefCell, or the shared variant of data value. Right, evaluate function. This almost, I remember doing this almost return a shared data value. I mean, like, it doesn't need to, right? So we do, when we ingest a composite, we do get a shared data out, this RC ref cell, and we do borrow it, but we're always going to clone its value out. The reason why we get a shared value out, we actually get a callback to Lua or the whatever the client is, and that is given a shared reference so that it can hold on to it. And so we can't own the data anymore, so we have to borrow it, and then if we want an owned value out of evaluation, we have to clone it. So that's the price I pay for having callbacks which can share those values. Okay, dereference. That's always giving us an owned value. So at the bottom, we're probably having a clone. There we go. Is that appropriate? Do we always need a clone? Yes, because it's only used in evaluate expression right now. Although I guess here we could clone it. And here we could like say, well, here's a reference to it. Or can I do that? I can't because of the borrow. We would have to return a ref, right? We'd have to return a ref. We have to return this actual type here. Which I'm thinking like we could do. And its lifetime would be the same as self, right? But I don't think it's worth it. Okay, moving on. Statement. Yeah, we have the consequences of borrowing here. Hey there, Ackerhorn. Hey there, Spoof. Welcome back. Yeah, I'm Spoof and just taking some time here to look for if we might be over borrowing. Like, does this need to be borrowed? Does this have to borrow it mutably? I don't think so because we don't use composite directly. So this could just be a normal borrow. We have to borrow its origin's bit stream mutably to set the offset. So I should kind of suspect any borrow mute in the code because we're not getting a warning if we're over borrowing, right? So here I need it because parse is mutable, right? Here I need it because I'm setting error. Test for that would be to try to do that, and it would tell me I can't. Yeah, we're seeking. Okay, here's one where we probably don't need it, right? Because composite, it's only used to look into the key children to get an entry. Actually, that means it does need to be mutable, right? If I do that, it's going to be an error. Yeah. It's kind of hard to see because it's 2 levels removed, but the entry has got a line under it, which means composite needs to have a line under it. Yeah, there's multiple levels of RefCells, so it's recursive. That's one problem. A component can have other components inside in the keyed children and in the iterations. Also, a component can have a shared data value, and which is furthermore recursive because a vector and a map can also own or can also share data values. And that's because once we give the value to Lua, it's allowed to, like, you know, grab a reference to one of the elements of the vector and package that and pass that around without converting it back to Lua value. Actually, is that still true? I'm not using a user data for data value in the bridge, am I, anymore, or am I? I did, but do I need that? Could I ever use this now, or is this, I thought I needed it. Okay, one test would be remove it from the modules. And we're good, so I didn't need to do that. Does that mean maybe data value doesn't need to be shared then? What am I doing with Lua? I'm wrapping the whole library in it. So here's how you could write a Lua script that when it requires the bridge is bridging from Lua to Rust, right? So maybe I rename this to ingestion later, but it doesn't matter. So we're getting, like, we can get access to the parser, we can make bitstream files, we can do the ingest, and when we ingest, we get back the data component, and we can look at individual values, and we can get out, it basically uses my parser to parse out the width and the height of the image. Hold on, I'll be right back. So it was only a few seconds though, right? So the whole reason that I want to wrap my library in Lua is because Lua is easy to embed in. It can embed it in almost anything. You can embed it in a C program. You can embed it in another Rust program, which is probably what I'm going to do, because eventually I want to start making a graphical user interface, but I want it to be like where I don't have to rebuild it. I don't want to have to rebuild the tool to extend it. I want to be able to drop in Lua scripts to extend the UI without having to build it. Also, it just makes it a lot more reusable. I can anything that accepts a Lua interpreter can now use my parser. So that's a lot of places. I could make a World of Warcraft plugin that has my parser in it, and it would work. As long as they're allowed to pull in modules, which maybe we're not allowed to with World of Warcraft plugins, but anything that lets me do that, it should work, right? So if I don't need to wrap values, right, then I don't need the shared data value at all. I can get rid of a lot of borrows and stuff, including like a ton of stuff I did in the unit tests, right? Before I make a change though to that, I should really stop and think, am I ever going to want to have that data? Actually, there's one case where I might want this. That's when I actually have some to-dos, don't I? Now that I think about it. When we're wrapping a data value, we're really not wrapping anymore, right? We're converting a data value to a Lua value. This is the question: do I wrap it, or do I? If I unwrap it, then if it's a vector, we're definitely unwrapping recursively. So it's not wrap anymore, really. It's like data value to Lua, or to Lua for data component value to Lua. So whenever you get a value out of a component, it's going to completely convert it to Lua now. Then it doesn't need to be shared. But if I don't want to convert the whole thing to Lua, then we would wrap it with as a user data, and then I'd have to have that method, an extra method of it to actually convert it to Lua. So I'm on the fence with that. Right, I'm still missing map and set. But I'm also thinking, like, I've already committed the sin by doing a recursive call with vector. So the other way we could do it is we could wrap. I could keep this data value wrapper, and it has a method to give us back the Lua equivalent. And then you would opt in. You would have to manually say, yes, I really want a Lua vector. And then, okay, then it would convert it. But if it stays as a data value, then we would give it like value. We would give it like vector-like properties, but we wouldn't actually convert the elements of the vector until you asked for it. You're working on a Rust CLI tool and you want to add extensions. You're initially thinking of DLLs, but that'd be potentially open the door to supply chain attacks. And then you can embed an interpreter, kind of not feeling that one. What are other avenues you might explore? Depends on what kind of extensions you want. So if you want the extensions to do anything your tool can do, then I don't see any way around the risk of having a potential, you call it supply chain attacks, so we'll just use that term. I don't see a way you can do it without opening the door to supply chain attacks. The only really way to leave the door closed is to limit what the extensions can do. You want to have hooks which can add subcommands. Okay, but what capabilities do those subcommands need? So you need to define your security boundary. What are your subcommands allowed to do? Or what do you need them to be able to do? Yeah, so the same thing. Sandbox is just another way for it, right? You need to define your sandbox. So if your extension just does computation, then what you could do is you could allow the extension to be written in a language in a like an interpreter or compiler, right? That does computation. Or you could put it into a sub-process that you heavily limit somehow. But that's pretty complicated. You could just put it into a root jail. You could let it do it at once, but you don't let it have access to the file system. But it could still open up network connections, I guess. The problem is how you construct a sandbox with limited permission. So that's the complicated part, right? It's to avoid attacks, you have to have some kind of sandboxing or some kind of limitation to what the code can do. So one way to make a sandbox is you don't let them plug in any kind of DLL. You make them write a program in your language, and your language inherently is sandboxed. It just doesn't have, so like Lua actually is a kind of sandbox when you think about it, and that's how World of Warcraft prevents extensions from hacking into from attacking various things, because they just don't. I think it's true that they just don't let you allow. They don't allow you calling require. Because one thing that you can do when you set up the Lua interpreter is you can remove things that you don't want scripts to be able to do. You just literally remove them from the global table. So it's harder to do with a language like Rust because it's all compiled. But if it's an interpreted thing like Lua, then when you set up the interpreter, you just cut away things that you don't want it to do. So if WASM gives a sandbox mechanism, then that sounds great. So put everything into a browser and use WASM's built-in permission system. I'm actually thinking more that like I'm going to have some really super complex values, I think. And I might not want them to be completely automatically, I don't want them automatically converted to Lua. Because there's also this this little code smell that we had to have this where is it? This value type. That's a code smell. It's saying that like value wasn't enough. That now we need this value type, which also borrows the value, right? Same thing that well, it uses the value just like value does, but it's like providing something value couldn't, and that's because when we convert it to Lua, we lose the information about what it originally was. So then, if they're user data values, then this would have to be like value dot like to Lua. Now we're like manually saying yes, we want it to be converted to a Lua type, right? And then Lua types implicitly can be printed. Unless it's a table, and then we want to handle it anyway, differently than printing it, right? So this is how I'd want to do it, I think. Dot type, which would produce a string. Actually, type. I could just mirror the Rust version of that, right? Describe type. Why not? Why not have it mirror the Rust? Use the same word, right? Okay, I've convinced myself we are going to keep the shared data. We already invested all, it might be sunken cost fallacy, but I've already invested in letting the data values be shareable. So let's allow it. So then I'll put that module back in. And then what this will do is this field doesn't exist anymore. And instead of doing a Lua to value to Lua, we're going to do an oh, we're supposed to return a result, right? The result will be a data value wrapping our own copy, so clone of the reference. I shouldn't have had to go into the crate data value. Hold on. Oh, maybe I should. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. We don't need to borrow. Okay, and we don't need Lua anymore. Okay. So then logic moves over to the other thing. So this is going to move over to data value.rs. Paste that there, right? Because we're about to use that one. We're gonna make fields and methods. Actually, we're not gonna have fields. Not yet. We'll add fields later for like actually, will we even have fields? Fields could be like if it's a map, then you could look up subparts. Actually, I could do the same thing for component. Now that I think about it. Anyway, it's really up to me how I want to do this. But the way I did it so far. They're all methods. Methods dot add method to Lua. Probably copying too much, but hey, it's fine. Yeah, in fact, I'm glad I copied that because I want to cut that and uncomment this. So actually, all I need to do is that, right? The type is wrong. 3 arguments. Oh, we get args, which we're not using. What's the problem with this? Type annotations needed? Really? What does it say I need? Oh, wait. Yeah, I could just say it's nothing. Nothing. Okay, so that satisfies the 2 Lua. I still need describe type. Don't need that anymore. Don't need that. Don't need that. Okay, describe type. I deleted this, right? Can I undo until I get it back? Yes. And then copy and then redo. So I've stolen it from the past to paste it into the future. It's just a method now and with no arguments. So we get that, right? Data value can't describe its own type, but it could. How did I get that wrong? Oh, there's a use I can get. Import, there we go. That's where it was. Okay, it was just hiding in a trait. Cool, so that should just work, right? See ya, Acheron. Eh? Oh, value. It thinks that the part is returning a number? Why would this return a number? Okay, well, let's print it. If it's a number, we could print it, right? It's a data component value. Oh, yeah. I need to like just get that part of it. Value? Attempt to index a number value. Index a number value. Index a number value. What? So in value, we're indexing a number value. I don't see where that's happening. It should return okay. Oh, wait, no, it's line 21. So it printed it. Oh, value is giving us a number. Okay, that's right. Oh, I didn't build. I did build. Oh, but it's set up for build release build. Right? Yeah, that's probably what it was. I'm like, what the heck? That should just work. Concatenate a data value. Yeah, well, that shouldn't work. Okay. Index a nil. Okay, yeah. So it got down and printed it. It's just I haven't done this part yet. See, that's the last thing, right? The part should actually called. We should be able to form a reference and use it. So what I want to do is I want to parse this as a reference rather than using it as a string. Did I change the bridge back to debug? No. It's just that I forgot I forgot I had linked to the release build and I was building the debug build. Silly mistakes. It's cold. It's cold. Okay, so to do this, I want this to be a reference. So I want part to take this string and interpret it as a reference. So I actually don't want to do a get anymore. I want to do a dereference in ingestion. Actually, I don't even know if that's so if it's publicly available. It's publicly available to the context, but I don't know if context is public, so we could assemble one and then call dereference on it. And that would give me back a data value, which we could then share and wrap, right? Is it exposed all the way out though? Yeah, I don't think context is. So maybe I want to make it API level, an API level thing. Can it be just part of an ingestion? Maybe, because this has ingest and we could have like a public function. right? You could have a public function dereference. Self component shared data component. And it should give you back another one. And it might give you an error. So if we had that, do we not have an error type? I guess I don't. I don't have an error type. Well, what if I just keep it simple? Right now, we don't even report internal errors like in when we do reference, right? Like this boils all the way up to like, I don't know. Let's say it's used in the context of executing a sign statement or something, which is statement, which is statements, which should be like ingest. Okay, it's already been consumed there. No, it's not. It boils out. No, it doesn't. So we eat it at some point. Maybe here? Yeah, we just log an error. At the API level, we never see it. But maybe in this case we would. So it internally it's seen as a string, right? This returns an error string. So maybe I just expose that at the API level. Yeah. So here we'd have return a string. Okay. Get back to that. I just want to try to call it. So in the bridge, in the bridge's ingestion, we'd have another function. Yeah. Oh, wait. That's a problem. We're parsing the or we have to hold on to the parser. Shouldn't need that actually. Hold on. Then I make an ingestion with no format, so then it doesn't really belong in this API layer, does it? Or it's not an ingestion thing. This is badly named. This should be ingestion. We're not doing ingestion. We're just walking a data structure. So yeah, it belongs. It doesn't belong here. It's at this level. Why don't I just do it here? This is the true API level where we have an ingestion, we have data component with arguments, we have optional error callback. We have data component. Ugh, I don't like it being only 65 freedom degrees in here. It is warming up outside though. It's almost 50. It's 59 and a half freedom degrees. It was 49 like an hour ago, 2 hours ago. trying to decide how to do this. So the two things I need to do, I need to be able to compile something as a reference and not a format. So I need like an alternate grammar. Or just have an alternate entry point into the existing grammar, which I have because I wanted to make them all testable. So another entry point into the parser gen, and that's one thing. And the other thing is I need to expose it at the API level. I guess it's just a function, right? So can I just make a function and import it here? Why don't I just make a function? And this is where I'll put it. I had it in under API, right? Put it at the bottom here. So just take it out. There's no self. It just goes here. It's global, right? Because we're just going to end up forming a temporary context. So let mute context equal context. New with composite. I don't know if any of these constructors are appropriate. New with part. Actually, new with composite is pretty close. It's just that we have no boundary. And oh, we have to have an API object. I forgot about that. That actually is, that's there for callbacks, but we're not going to use them. How painful would it be to make this thing optional? Where is it used? Oh, it can't compile, so I have to, hold on, I have to fix this to make it compile. To do. Okay, now we can make it compile. So back up to here. Why is it not? Okay, show me all references. There we go. Okay, we cloned it, no big deal. Here we borrow it to call a callback. And here we're just plumbing it through, right? Okay, here we need it to get a format. So I could just make this, it's already fallible, so I could just, if we try to somehow ingest something using a dereference, one made just for dereferencing, it would just say, we have no formats known or something. Yeah, I'm just trying to leverage the dereference thing. Anyway. The same thing, right? It's a callback. So I think I can make this optional. And I think that means I do want another constructor for the context. But yeah, we have to fix this now. So it's if we have to put this inside of an if let some API equals this part. That as ref, I guess, right? Yes. Then we borrow it. Am I going to get in trouble with multi-borrow here? No, not yet. Because it's borrowing a different thing, right? So we're good. Don't need an asref there. I thought I did because it would move the API out. Is that because RC is copy? I don't want to have to, I don't want it to increment the reference count, if that makes sense. So I thought by doing that, it would not increment the reference count. It just moves the borrow self into the option. I think it would allow it. It's just if it that means it's copy, right? Which means that we're going to increment the reference count. I can do that. Is the type correct? Okay, it's the same thing, right? RC isn't copy. So that's the same thing as asref, isn't it? But that's shorter, so it's better. So you get a point. 15 points. Right, this should be let, well, no, if let, else. No, it's better than that. I can do a partial borrow here, right? I can say let some API equals borrow the self API else some other error, right? No formats. Actually, this should just be let API equals self API on. Actually, here I do have to do an asref because I want to do a expect. I want to make it actually panic if we ever get here. Ingesting without formats. I actually want to do that. And then this is just API. Inching ever closer to 4 digits. Well, you got to get 3 digits first. Filling in the blanks for previous discussion about WASM. WASM GC does not support interior pointers, so Go cannot benefit from this. At least not without something ugly like fat pointers. Something ugly? Fat pointers aren't ugly. Yeah, exactly. Rust crying in the corner. Also C++ crying in the corner. Right? You have fat pointers in C++. They're called, what are they called? Smart pointers? Yeah, you'll have to do something really, really awesome to get 985 points. Okay, so this would be some API. So I am going to make a new one here. Actually, before I make a new one, let's rename the old one. This is new with composite. New with uningested composite. Okay, and because I want to make one with an ingested composite. So that takes a shared data component and no boundary and no API. And this is none. This is clone. Boundary is none. Exactly. That's what I want. We're going to use that in dereference. Okay. How did I get that? That's cool. I don't know how I got that. Did I get that by clicking one of these? Oh, you can click here and get it up here? I didn't know that. Can I give a point to VS Code? Evaluate function. So this would be like cloned as ref. Right? What? Oh, some. Well, hold on. I think I have to have an expect here. Evaluating functions without formats. Actually, technically that is not, we could put a function call into the index for reference. So that should actually just be returned as an error. So instead of, it should be an unwrap or else, right? It's unwrap or else gives me an error, right? No, I need to actually give you an error. Okay, or the error can be, well, it's gonna be a string, so let's do an or else. Okay, or else. And then no, I want to unwrap it, don't I? How do I like get an error? It should be okay and then dot okay. Oh, actually, I had it correct before. It's unwrap. It's okay or error and then unwrap it, or unwrap it with a try. Okay or else. Um, I just put a string here, don't I? And then I put a question mark. Dot clone. Yeah, exactly. So here the error we get back is cannot cannot call functions in references. Or cannot call functions unless ingesting. Exactly. There we go. API clone okay or else. So I don't need the as ref, you're saying? Even better. You're on your way. You're 1 point closer to your goal. I didn't realize that you could clone an option with an RC inside, which I should have expected that you should be able to. There's probably a blanket implementation of clone for option T if T is clone, right? Just gives you a new option with a clone of the T in it. I'm guessing. Okay, we got one error to fix. So this is the same thing as when I did on part here. Basically, we don't call a callback if we get an error. Yep, that's it. That's true. We do want this to be a must use. Wait, is that not the error? Is the error just we're not using it? Yeah. Never mind. I'll use it. Don't worry. Unnecessary closure used to substitute a value. For none. Use okay or instead. Oh, because it's a constant. Yeah, even better. Yeah, exactly. You got a spoof. So, not using that import. Correct. Well, actually incorrect. We're about to use it. Because we're going to take this out. So I actually want to use my new constructor. New with ingested composite. So that's component. And don't I need a string for this too? path, right? String and let's just make it a string. They have a string, they can give it to us. Otherwise, they can clone it or convert it to a string or whatnot. Because I think the dereference uses it. The whole point is to call this in the end, right? Oh no, it wants a reference. So I don't. This can actually be a str because we're gonna parse that. Right. We're gonna actually use a parser here. And I've done this before in the tests for in parser. We did a ref parser new parse, and the input. So we have to make a temporary lexer also. Let's just do that first. So reference equals that. Input. And just go into this and find it there. This thing here somewhere. Where is it? Oh, it wasn't in ingestion. It was in parser. Here. I thought. Where was it? Here it is. Lexer new. Wrong place. It is in data component. Here. No? Where am I going? I'm lost. Did I put it up in here? I did, didn't I? Yes. I haven't made the Lua wrapper for this yet. Right, but I will. So that it's this. So we make a lexer for the path. Oh, our ingestion doesn't depend on the lexer? How is that possible? That's not possible, is it? Yeah. Oh, it's a dev dependency. So how does it work at runtime then? I forget. Dependency injection, right? Do we have to how does this work? It's been a while. I think I'm gonna have to stop streaming soon, not only because I want to go to BlizzCon, but also because my fingers are freezing off. API ingest. Oh wait, no, I remember why. The ingestion library doesn't do parsing. You give it. You have to give it on a pre-parsed format. So I can make it a two-step process. If I want to do a dependency injection, then you'd have to give it a pre-parsed reference, and then we'd have to have I could do it in the bridge, I guess. The bridge can depend on the parser. It can parse the reference, pass the pre-made reference to the ingestion library. So let's just do that first. In the where am I? At the API level? No, not the API level. It's at the top level. I don't have a home for it yet, right? in the ingestion write library. Here, we'll not get a path as a string. We'll get it as a reference. And we'll do the parsing somewhere else. Yes, use AST. So we don't do that. We do this. Dereference. The reference, which is path. I guess it's no longer a path, it's a reference. And we get back, we actually get back exactly what we need, right? Oh, we need to share it. So, because this gives us an unshared data value. Oh, this is the wrong type. This should just be data value. Yeah. Okay, then this is actually exactly correct, and I don't need to do this. In fact, I can just do this on to here and be done with it. Like that. So we make a temporary context within an already ingested component and we tell it to dereference it. Great. So then the parser needs to expose something at its API level to let us parse a path into a reference. Is that dog barking again? You need to go out again? I don't know why. Never mind. False alarm. Wait. They were in the test somehow. I went to the wrong file. No, I'm in the right file. Okay, yeah. So I have parse. I should probably call it parse formats, right? Because we're going to have another top-level API called parse reference into parser. Oh, that's just the type. Yes. So it's abstracted. The lexer is abstracted away through this. This is the lexer abstraction. Should I just call this lexer? I should, shouldn't I? Lexer. There we go. Easy. Rust made me miss your awesome applet screenshot? Oh, I just didn't see it. You're rewriting your 20-year-old 2D action MMO. Copy link. Oh, I didn't want to open it. I just wanted to copy it. Copy link. Ooh. I'm so happy I wrote this as an applet. So what are you writing it in? Take that wasm go Rust. This looks neat. This looks like something I might actually play. Okay, I hear the dog yipping, but I don't know why. Guess I can put up the blinds while I'm here. Ah. 20-year-old applet, huh? Okay, I renamed it Lexer, so now I can actually understand what it means. A Lexer is anything that can be turned into an iterator of locations and tokens. That is a Lexer, yes. So this is different. Parse formats doesn't mutate self. It's just leveraging self. Actually, I don't even need a self. I don't even need it at this level. So make it maybe so that it's not so confusing. This would just be a bare function. And turn this back into parse. Actually, then why am I having a struct at all, right? I can have the user can do the extend, right? But yeah, we don't need a self. We're not doing a self format. We're just doing the same thing that, again, the reference test did. This thing, go back and paste. So it's ref parser new parse with the Lexer. Was there a reason that I had that there? With OK? There's no reason to do that, is there? Can I just say that? And say that this is a reference? Import that from the grammar, yes. Yeah, so do I need to say OK there? Oh, I do. Because we want to return early. But if we don't return early, we do want to extend the formats. Okay, so then that's fine. So what's wrong with this? Oh, we need to convert the error. What's our error type? Okay. And what is the parse error type? A lollipop parse error. So I need to do a question mark. No. I need to do... Okay. Wait. It's thinking. Why did I have to do that? Because this does the mapping of the error and it does an early return. So really, I just want to do the mapping of the error. Right? How do we do that? It's like map error into. Why is there camel case? That's lollipop, yeah. Yeah, I don't define that type. They do. I think in mine, it's just a reference. Yeah. I do capitalize it. No, it's ref. No, I don't capitalize it. It's just ref. So they capitalize it. No, they just add capital parser after it. Yeah. Not me. Okay, so we have parse reference. Now the dog wants back in. So I think I have all the pieces I need now. So back to the bridge. Lib for the bridge. It was data component. I forget what I called it. Oh, it was what part was supposed to do. Okay, so part is not supposed to like do this directly anymore. It's supposed to get a compile it as a reference. So let reference equal this is not name anymore, it's a path. Path parse reference lexer path fallible. Is it new? New. Okay. Yeah, I was afraid of that. The error type is not convertible. But I have converted things before, right? By doing like a conversion error or something like that. I think in this case, we're not converting. I want like a user-defined error or something, right? So what do I want? Not a syntax error. Runtime error? But that's for built-in operations on incompatible types. External error? User-defined errors? It's a Lua error. The Rust code that originally invoked Lua receives a callback error. Oh, hello, kitty. You just saying hello? Or do you want me to pick you up? You're just saying hello. So I really shouldn't use this. I need something that turns... I really just want a string, right? So this runtime error gets a string. Maybe I use that. We can see what it does. If it doesn't work, we'll try something else. So I need to map the error to a Lua error runtime. What? There's a... Oh, that's interesting. Is that just a wrapper around that? Okay. Hmm. That seems like unnecessary to me. See, how do we get a string from this error? That error will be here. I have the display trait. So that means I have a toString, right? Yeah, there we go. So then we get a reference. Great. Now we want to dereference it. Let part equal this dot zero dot borrow. No, we don't even need to borrow it, right? It's a top level API thing. So it's ingestion dereference. Component is this dot zero. The reference is borrowed.